All right, guys, we're getting ready to start the session back up again. This is a working lunch, guys, so you guys can eat, but we're going to continue talking. So we were at pictures, so if you guys look closely at the pictures, you can see all three of us. Me a little slimmer, Julian with a little bit more hair on his head, and Anthony with a little less hair on his face. We all competed in 2017 together. Julian competed last year, 2019, as well. So, as you can see, me and Julian in the room looking like, what is going on in this room? So we're just going to talk about our experiences really quick. For me, a head delegate standpoint, it's a lot of hard work. You are pretty much in charge of your UN team. You got to make sure everybody's up in the morning. You got to make sure that the binders that we bring with us are filled with information that is useful to each committee. So the information will be general information, then information that committee, specific people in those committee rooms can use. Also, you're responsible for anything that happens that Jason can't take care of. So unless it's life or limb, you're the person that people are making the phone call to. It was a very interesting experience. It tested my leadership in terms of, I really learned getting to DC that leadership is patience, it is tolerance, it is about listening more than you speak. Sometimes I speak a lot. So, it was an experience, and when Julian comes up here, he can lend perspective to the experience on his end. But I know at the end of the experience, in 2017, we didn't win any awards, and obviously you go back home as the league feeling really bad about that. But it actually encouraged me to encourage other people to go into the program because I learned so much from it. The high pace of it, it actually got me prepared to go into school at John Jay. Because it's like so progressive at that competition. You're in the rooms, you're talking to multiple people, you're making interactions, and you're building consensus on the spot. There's really no time for second guessing. If I'm going to go up and talk to a fellow delegate, I got to know what I'm going to talk to them about. I got to know what I'm talking about. And Julia mentioned jargon. There is specific jargon that is used by the UN that, as a model UN, you have to mimic it completely. There are obviously things you're not going to know, but going to this competition, you have to be willing to ask questions, not exactly the dais, but of your fellow delegates. And when I went, I'm gonna admit, I didn't exactly ask a lot of questions. I thought I knew it all, and it kind of played badly on the team around me. But I enjoyed my time there. I'm sure that these two did as well. It was all in all an amazing experience for me. Julie?
So yeah, I'm just going to be very brief and put this in a succinct manner. Basically, my experience with Model UN was pretty similar to Stefan. We both shared the same experiences, which were, absolutely great because it was an eye-opening experience for me and for him as well. It definitely heightened my ability to effectively communicate, right, at a sophisticated level and understand the jargon that is, spoken at National Model United Nations. And I'm pretty sure all of you are familiar with code switching, right? It's basically what it is. I'm pretty sure you don't talk to your mom the way you talk to your friends, right? It's how it goes sometimes. And when you're speaking to a professor or you're emailing that professor, you aren't using slang or you aren't using any, form of ebonics to talk with a professional, right? You're speaking in a very, professional way. It also helped me to develop diplomacy skills as well, and also be a very empathetic person/leader. And to touch upon that too, it also developed leadership skills. I'm also a part of the Student Leadership Academy, hint, building leadership skills. But yeah, when you go down to Model United Nations, the experience is going to be individualized because it's different for everybody. But before I actually pass the mic to Anthony, what I want to say is that don't be afraid to fail, because, you know, the most successful people in this world, including myself, including Jason, including the people that are right behind me, we failed miserably. But from that, we've learned a great deal. And that's where success comes from. And I think that all of you should definitely hone into your failures and keep them dear to your heart, because you learn a lot from them. Don't be afraid to fail, because, you know, from that we become successful leaders.
In closing, guys, for me, it was like I learned more. Like it gave me the opportunity to like develop tunnel vision. So it's like it's a very intense thing. Like think of finals week. It's like this, like triple the amount. I came in there thinking like, oh, I got this, I got this, I got this, and I was like, boom. I learned a lot that weekend. I learned to take responsibility for my actions. I learned how to be a leader too. And it was the stepping stone what got me to graduate from here the following semester. And if you're gonna do this, take it with pride and take it serious, because applications open up in I think September. And only 12 people get to go. Correct me if I'm wrong. Just know when you do this, be ready and be prepared. And make sure you get all your assignments done before that weekend too. Because some people had due dates that Sunday. Moving on.
One more thing that I wanted to include that I don't think anybody touched base on is that we all get stipends, right? We get money. But it's not like $1 million or something like that. It's $80, which is fairly reasonable, right? And the stipulation behind that is that you have to retain all of the receipts that you spend, like the money on, so it can then go back to Jason, and then he gives that to a special person, so things can get allocated for it. But yeah, that's a great thing. I'm not just saying go on a trip because of the money. I want you to go on there because of the educational experience, of course. But the money helps too, right? So you have the $80, and then I would say if you are anticipating on going to the trip, you want to save some additional money and add that to the 80, and you'll have a good experience.
Also, guys, I don't think any of us mentioned this. You guys will be staying at a hotel in Washington, D.C. We didn't mention the location of the event. It's in D.C. It's about 3 to 4 days out there. It's amazing. And the experience is just one of a kind. You won't get another experience like that within Q. And I will say that from personal experience. I think the gentleman can agree with me on that. But so now we've reached the point of Q&A. Does anybody have any kind of questions? If you can answer. Oh, definitely learn more about the countries. When we were representing Yemen, I had a friend of mine, Mashira, and she's actually from Yemen. So we had an opportunity to speak with her and speak with other people who are knowledgeable about the situation that was happening within Yemen and still happening in Yemen. So I mean, definitely a door opening if you want to learn more about member nations. Any other questions? Yes.
I think it's posted on the website before the event, like a month in advance,
So
a
generally,
week in advance.
what we try to do is, I try to let you guys decide, the team, the academy decide what country we're going to represent. There's some limitations with that because some of the bigger countries, America, some of the different places, the numbers are just too big for us. So we can't take that many people just because of our budget constraints. But for the most part, anything up and above 8 to 11, right, to 12, those countries are all available. Whatever's being offered, we usually take a vote in the Google poll, and then I'll post the vote, and then that's the team will apply for. And assuming we apply early enough, we usually get the country that we want. So for the most part, we've been able to do it. We haven't repeated a country with the exception of the Dominican Republic yet. We've done African nations, we've done South American countries, we did Yemen, we did Italy, a couple of European nations, did Canada once. So we try to do a little bit of every place around the world. Haiti, a couple different places.
Speaking of the Google Doc, we actually had a delegate from 2017 who is from India and voted ridiculously for India to win out, so that's benefited Julian and his group. Any other questions? I saw your hand in the back. That's what you're going to ask. And any other questions, guys, before we introduce the next speaker, or we bring Jason back up to introduce the next speaker? No? Thank
So
you.
let me give you, before they go, so these three of them. Give them a round of applause for stepping in. We knew he was hosting today, and I don't know what he did with his voice over the weekend. So one of the things is that you had Uselli present this morning about local politics and getting involved in a local, state, and national politics and policy making, how things work here, a little bit of everything. When we put together the Academy 12 years ago, we said we had to have an international element. And over the course of the years that I've been here, we've had about 84 countries represented within our mix. Things that as vast as Tibet, to Haiti, to Dominican Republic, to Yemen, to Chile, to anywhere you can imagine, we've had to represent almost everywhere. And so we try to have that international element. And so every year we put together this team, and it's a labor intensive, it's a labor of love. You're basically committing to something that you're going to put your heart and soul into. And these guys have had to do that. It's not an easy thing, right? Because you're competing with colleges and universities from around the country, as well as some countries bringing students from other places. And you're competing with those students, and some of them are actually working on this for a grade. Now, it's not supposed to happen, but it happens. And so you're going head and toe against folks who may be taking it to the next level. And so I think Julian and Stefan had a rough time in their experience, in the first experience, where people were sort of like, pushing that envelope. And that can happen. But it also develops something about your character. It allows you to sort of stand up on your 2 feet and say, all right, you know what, I'm a college student as well. Doesn't matter where you're going, Clemson University, University of New Hampshire, MIT, I don't care. I'm equal to each and every one of you that's here. I put in the time and the effort. I'm putting in the time and the effort while I'm here. So it's a great opportunity and experience to talk about not only international affairs, but also to measure yourself against other college students from around the country and around the world. And actually develop some friendships. Or speak to Julian this year when we went at the opening ceremony. There were several United States diplomats that served on the panel, and Julian got to ask a couple of questions of the United States diplomats. That's those rare opportunities that you get. And what they're talking about in terms of unique about what we do at Hostos is that when you're a member of the Academy, you can participate in this by applying, doing the steps, going through the steps of the process, and then going. And most of the other colleges, and we go, and LaGuardia goes, and Hunter goes, and a couple of other colleges go, it's basically a class. And basically you have to take the class, you have to be approved before you can go, and so you don't have this experience as just a student who's just participating and going, because you want to go. You're going because you're going for a grade as part of your process. So it's a great opportunity. Every fall we do it. We haven't done New York in a while because it's just too complicated. We can't. The board of trustees says we can't stay in a New York hotel. With New York City money, and the timeline is not right because it takes 4 days and it's not over spring break anymore. So it's been a little complicated, but we still go to DC. It's a great trip. As you see in the pictures, we get to go around and see the monuments for a little while before they get hunkered into the hotel rooms. Not the hotel rooms where they sleep, the hotel rooms, conference rooms where they're just sort of there and they're long days. They're exhausting days. This year, I have to say, people really got exhausted by the end of the second day. They go from about 8:30 in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. There's a couple of breaks in there, right, to have meals, but for the most part, you're going full speed ahead. You have 3 sessions on that Saturday, and it can be truly exhausting, and everything all balanced out. So, some of the students work overnight with their teams to work on these working papers. But at the end of the weekend, I think the guys would say, and everybody who's participated in this program would say, is that there's a feeling of accomplishment. You really feel like you've accomplished something at the end of this that maybe other students would never have that experience. So it's really important. And I want to give props. There's the cameras on, so I can say something without putting my foot in my mouth. Diana Sanchez, who was one of the original members, recommended this to me. And as Stefan said, the things that we do as part of the academy, even the winter workshops, were recommended to me by students. Students said, we need to do this, let's try and do this, let's go out and volunteer here, let's do the Model United Nations. And Diana was the one who said, let's do it. We had no idea what we were getting into that year. We walked in, for all of these guys can tell you how stressful it was for them and how unprepared they felt. That first year, we had no prep, I didn't know I didn't know anything about it. And we went there and we had 14 students. It was bigger than any other group we've ever had. We just thought, okay, we're gonna beat everybody up, and they're gonna do a great job. And after the first day, people were crying. I had one of my strongest ambassadors ever, one of the best guys ever. He was just like totally blocked out. Nobody would talk to him in the room. I was like, nope, you're a Dominican Republic, you have no money, we don't want to talk to you, you have no say in world politics. That's basically what they said to him. And he's originally from Gabon. So he was weird. It was like a whole thing. He didn't know what to do. And I was trying to pump him up and go back and fight. It's like, and I didn't realize how, demanding it can be. So it is a challenge, but you do some prep. And as the guy said, you do have to do your own prep to really be ready to take it on. But if you feel like that you can do it, and I think Julian understood this year because he went for a second time, is that when you get there and you actually put that work in, you make an impact. And it makes you a better person in terms of everything that you're going to do going forward. So thank you guys. Let's give them a round of applause. Do I have anybody work the camera over there? Yeah, you can do that.
With that being said, guys, I want to bring up our next speaker if he's here.
He's here.
His